Hey guys, welcome to another one of my reviews. Now, right now I'm going to cover something that I think a lot of people here would be kind of excited about, and chances are this is a toy line that you've never seen before, so it's something completely brand new. And unfortunately, maybe you didn't look for this at all, but maybe it popped up on your feed as something that I've uploaded, and hopefully that's enough to interest you. Now, what are the cars I'm going to be reviewing? These are the three cars. Right, and these are what I had picked up on a recent trip to Japan. And well, let me tell you the story about this. When I went to the toy shop, I always like to pick up little things, just little mementos that I can't find over here. So for example, if I were to buy something in Japan and I wanted to find something that's uniquely Japanese, I'm not going to be buying a t-shirt that says I love Tokyo. I'm not going to pick up a kind of a generic keychain that may say Asakusa or Akihabara, because these things are kind of like too mass-produced, and they're kind of geared towards the tourist market. Not to say that I wouldn't buy it for friends or relatives or anything as far as gifts are concerned, but for me, it's not special enough because I have no mindset that came into it, and I'm not really interested in having that. Now, that being said, this is the toy line. I believe it is pronounced VooV. And it might be an amalgamation of like vehicle and move, but I can't entirely be sure. I haven't looked up the history, but I have looked up some details on it, which is why the iPad is out. But first, let me get to these figures. Well, these cars. Now, you may be wondering, there doesn't seem to be anything particularly special about these cars, but as anybody knows, you know, I think the Japanese have some of the coolest toys and some of the most well thought out toys. They have great quality control. You rarely see an issue with it. Even the cheapest figures look like, you know, $10 figures here. Like, for example, the newest Iron Man 3 line by Hasbro looks like knockoffs compared to the quality that the Japanese would be used to, even from the little vending machines that they have there. Now, that's enough of that. Now, this red car, I was just enamored by it because they had put this on display in the store and allowed kids to play with it. I'm 6 foot tall, and so, you know, unfortunately, it was kind of embarrassing, kind of looking over the shoulder, excuse me, of kids playing with it. I did feel wrong, but this was just so damn interesting. Now, the details on this car. See if we can get focus on here. Let's see this. Wow, this is taking a long time. Is it ever going to focus? There we go. Now, the details on this don't look anything too special, and there's a little nub there which I'll explain briefly. The entire body is kind of like a thick plastic, which is great. There's some heft to it. And also the wheels, they roll really, really well. Now, the interesting thing about the car, and the reason why I love it, and the reason why I think that kids, if I were a kid in Japan, this would be like the number one on my list. Check it out. It kind of like explodey transforms into a different vehicle. And just gotta get these aligned for a bit. A bit difficult, only because I'm looking at it through the viewfinder. So, give me a second. Normally, normally the transformation for this really doesn't take that long, and it's extremely sturdy with its transformation, and it rolls awesome. It rolls just like any Hot Wheels or Matchbox car. You know, there's a satisfying roll, and you know the funny thing is, I did buy 3 of them, and none of them have that problem that Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars have. With typically once in a while they'd have a wonky wheel that's kind of like inverted. That way when you push it, it either veers off to the left like a shopping cart, or it kind of the friction of the wheel touching the base of the car or whatever portion of the car that it would touch kind of like slows it down almost immediately to a crawl. And so these guys, none of these have the problem, and I don't know, precision engineering, the stereotype that we have coming out of the Japan. So yeah, so this turns from a red car into like an emergency vehicle. And so the next one we have here is the traditional Japanese police car. You may have seen, oops, I'm sorry. You may have seen something like this on, you know, like Initial D. Let's get in on the details. Oh wow, that was a quick. So you've got, I'm sure this says something impressive, something like Police Force Tokyo, Japan maybe? I don't know. Speed Force. The details are there. Obviously these little nubbins, now you kind of understand why the nubbins are low there, but yeah. Simply flip it over and it becomes a red car. And as you can see, I'm much more familiar with the transformation here because this is the one that I've just been transforming back and forth constantly. Just when I have to wait for something to load up, or you know, just during a break, I just fiddle with this thing. And so yeah, so it's an amazing car. I love this. And you know, like as I said, you know, if I were 5 years old, I would, you know, and lived in Japan, I would have a collection of this, which would be obnoxious. Constantly like, Mommy, can we go to a toy store? I need to pick up a new VooV. So here's the final one that I chose. Well, I kind of wanted one of each kind of unique vehicle. So I wanted a ute, a utility vehicle. Wanted a police car, which doubles as a normal, like, I don't know if you call this like a sedan or something. I don't know that much about cars. And the final one is kind of like a, you know, a crazy, kooky, cute vehicle, which this is going to fall under. It kind of looks like a Beetle. I had to look it up just earlier. It is a Toyota IQ, as you can see on Yahoo, Amazon. These typically retail for about the smaller vehicles are about $7 or $8 each. I think it's worth it because you're basically getting two toys in one. But yeah, so this transforms into little character car, which is pretty neat. You know, I'd you know, probably murder somebody if this had turned into a Pokemon car or something, because that would just get me going. That would be so awesome. But this one definitely still is more than good enough for the purposes here. Let's see if we can get this in focus here. There we go. Now this is part of the normal car set. This is the mid-range of the toys. There's also a less detailed version, I'm sure, with cheaper plastic, I'm assuming, that's meant for the younger kids, that's priced at around $5 or maybe $4 or $5 each. And here, this is another one that I got, and this is still part of the VooV line, except it was a train, and I just had to get this because I'm kind of obsessed with the way the Japanese market their trains. Each one seems to have a different personality according to the way the line is. So this is the average metro train that you'd take around Tokyo. And I didn't do this transformation in a while. Take it apart. And it turns into one of these kind of luxury bullet liner kind of things. You know, I'm sure somebody has a much better idea of what this train actually is. Somebody that likes it more than me. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. This entire cab here hides inside the train, and so you know, by transforming, you actually gain size, as you can see there. So, and you know, and the neat thing about this, the train, is that there's little hooking things where you can actually hook a whole bunch of these trains together and make it seem like you're just a train collector. Now, the interesting thing is, I'm actually not sure whether there are tracks that come with this, but wow, that would be amazing. At the moment, well, the last time I went to Japan was late last year, and so maybe by now they've come up with plane versions, helicopter versions, which I would just go crazy about, but I really don't want to look it up because the importing fees for silly little toys is going to be insane. I picked this up while I was there, like I said, for around $7 or $8 a piece, probably closing in on $10 because of the exchange rate. But I mean, can you just imagine getting these for imported, you'd have to order it special. Chances are some places are not going to ship it overseas, so you might need to use a special service in order to order them, and that would raise the price of these guys considerably, since you have to basically pay 2 shipping charges. But yeah, I mean, I tried ordering it from Amazon Japan, and it wouldn't work, so I just gave up after that. So there you have it, the VooV line of transforming cars and trains.